Manchester City sacked, resigned, quit. Manchester City loan problems keep on coming. Manchester City had high hopes for some of their most promising youngsters, but their loan moves have been challenging. Manchester City are going from strength to strength under Pep Guardiola, but their loanees look more like Sideshow Bob in a field of rakes. Every move that is made sees more pain. It was an important summer for the Blues in terms of their emerging talent. A number of excellent youngsters have come into the first team picture over the last 18 months, and that raised the stakes for finding loan moves. With the standard required, it was necessary to go outside of the City football group. 3 of their most promising loans have already hit serious roadblocks though, with managers changed within the first 3 months of the campaign. If City were aiming for stable environments for their youngsters to thrive in, they haven't got it right. Claudio Echeverri's move was delayed over the summer because of how much he impressed first-team staff after joining the squad. In February, Guardiola gave him his debut in the FA Cup final, and he also looked good in the Club World Cup before getting injured. He was announced with great fanfare in Leverkusen and given the number 9 shirt, only for Erik ten Hag to be sacked after just 3 games. Not that the change has really mattered, because Echeverri has barely played since. His only 3 starts have been against PSG, a 7-2 defeat, where he was subbed after 45 minutes, Bayern, a 3-0 defeat, where he was subbed after 57 minutes, and Benfica, a 1-0 win, where he was subbed after 57 minutes. City have been monitoring Echeverri's minutes with some concern for weeks. And if the player wants to feature with Argentina at the World Cup in summer, he may have to move again in January for more minutes. Things have hardly been better for Jemai Simpson-Pusey, the academy defender who made his senior debut last season and earned a season-long loan at Celtic. He didn't even make the squad for the Champions League qualifier that saw Celtic exit at the hands of opposition from Kazakhstan, and was then left out of the Europa League squad by Brendan Rodgers. Amid an awful start for the boys, manager Rodgers resigned in October and was replaced by Martin O'Neill. Simpson-Pusey started his first league game of the season at the weekend and will hope for more opportunities under the new manager, but it hasn't gone the way anyone wanted it to. Completing the set is Sverre Nypan, the exciting Norwegian talent who quickly got into his stride at Middlesbrough. The 18-year-old hasn't played every game or been consistent throughout, but has shown enough flashes of quality to excite locals in a team currently sitting second in the Championship. However, Nypan's circumstances will change after the international break because Boro manager Rob Edwards has quit in order to join Wolves. The teenager will still hope to show his quality, but his fortunes are now in the hands of somebody different to who City expected them to be when they sent him there in the summer. There is a long time to go in the season, but it hasn't been the start that anybody wanted for some of City's most promising talent. One January transfer could test Manchester City injury optimism after bothered claim. Manchester City are in a good place with injuries, but could see that threatened by the January transfer window. One of the most pleasing aspects of Manchester City's win over Liverpool for Pep Guardiola was the options that he didn't even need. Why were there a lot of injuries last season? And this season, hopefully, we don't have them now. When you are not there, you get injured, he said on Sunday. When you are focused and you want to win and you want to be ready, Johan Cruyff told me, if you are ready, you don't get injured. Don't tell me why. The same methodology, the same training sessions, the same doctors, the same physios. Why are there no injuries one year and all injuries the next year? Because you are not there, and because I was not there. Another player who was there on Sunday without being used was Nathan Ake, as the Dutchman took to the bench for the 13th time in 17 games this season. His only starts have come in the League Cup matches at Huddersfield and Swansea, and Premier League games with Spurs and Everton. That is as might be expected with a squad player, but Netherlands boss Ronald Koeman has said this week that Ake is bothered by his lack of playing time, and while he went on to talk him up as one of the captains, he did add, is he also guaranteed a place in the World Cup next year? That's still a long way off. The lack of confirmation has already prompted reports that Ake could look for a move in the January transfer window to play more regularly and book his spot for the USA in summer. And given the options City have at their disposal, that may look fine now. Stones is there, and Kusanov would surely relish the chance to feature more. But there is a long time between now and January, and an even longer time between January and the end of the season. Given the problems the Blues had with injuries last year and the debilitating effect it had on them competing for trophies, it would be another risk to lose some of the depth they now have again, just because they are in a position of strength. That isn't to say that they won't or shouldn't do it. As ever, if AEK really wants a move, and the price is right, it will have to be considered. But after enduring a miserable years with injuries at the centre of it, City do not want to move too quickly in their bid to put that behind them. Manchester City signing discovers new status to spark January transfer question. James Trafford is back in the England squad after Nick Pope pulled out, but the Manchester City goalkeeper has fallen down the pecking order. James Trafford was England's third-choice goalkeeper when he signed for Manchester City, and at the very least had designs on being next in line behind Jordan Pickford soon enough. Instead, 3 months after his £27 million return to the Etihad, Trafford has dropped a place. He wasn't included in Thomas Tuchel's squad for the November internationals, and only got a reprieve when Nick Pope pulled out with a concussion. The 23-year-old will hope to impress in training, but the writing appears to be on the wall. Pickford and Dean Henderson are certainties for the World Cup, and if Pope continues to play regularly for Newcastle, that looks likely to edge him into the third-choice role. Trafford's issue is his lack of exposure. When signing for City in July, he expected to be competing with Ederson this season and would have backed himself to win that battle with the Brazilian. The reality has proven to be very different. He started the first 3 Premier League games of the season, but by then it was becoming clear that Ederson was on his way out, to be replaced by Gianluigi Donnarumma. The Italian is only 3 years older than Trafford and has signed a 5-year contract with the option of a further year. Since Trafford started against Brighton on the last day of August, his only further appearances have been in Carabao Cup wins against Huddersfield and Swansea. His next competitive outing is likely to be when Brentford visit the Etihad for a quarter-final tie the week before Christmas. Maybe the former Burnley goalkeeper will get games in the FA Cup, and he might start against Bodo Glimt or Galatasaray in the Champions League if City are on track to qualify, but it's not going to be enough to catch the eye. Trafford said at the start of this season he wanted to be City's number 1 for a decade, and he wants to be England's number 1 as well. Right now, neither looks likely to happen, although Guardiola said last week that he still felt he would get there. We have an incredible keeper. For England, sooner or later, he will be the one, he said. Dislodging Pickford is no easy task given the quality of his performances for the Three Lions, but it's an impossible task if you're not playing for your club, and that is where Trafford finds himself. We are delighted with his behaviour in training, Guardiola said of Trafford. Gigi learns from James, and James learns from Gigi. The goalkeepers are always connected, they train. They learn like I learn from the players, and hopefully the players learn from the staff. One of the reasons I want to go through in this competition is because they all have to be ready just in case they are needed in the Premier League or Champions League. There is a certain irony in Trafford replacing Pope in this month's England squad, given Newcastle wanted to sign him to challenge Pope this season. Only when the Magpies had a £27 million bid accepted by Burnley did it force City to match the offer. This isn't the scenario Trafford expected when he made that return to his former club. A departure already looks inevitable given his ambitions aren't going to be met at the Etihad, and if Trafford wants to make England's World Cup squad, he might even have to push for a move in January. City are unlikely to allow that, although with Stefan Ortega and Marcus Bettinelli at the club, they could absorb the loss of a goalkeeper. Pep Guardiola doubled down in crisis to produce Man City masterstroke. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has overseen a transition to a younger squad, but they have a wise old head leading them. Pep Guardiola was happy enough after Manchester City's win over Liverpool to give reporters 15 minutes of his time. The result isn't always an indicator of how open City's manager wants to be about a game or how positive, so he must have been in a good mood after Liverpool. One name that saw Guardiola's face instantly light up was Bernardo Silva. The 31-year-old was written off by many last season after becoming a lightning rod for criticism of an underperforming team. Like Ilkay Gundogan, he was one of few players to stay fit, but suffered as a result of everyone else being in the treatment room. In March, Silva angrily denied the suggestion that he and others needed to be moved on in the sweeping changes that Hugo Viana was taking the lead on to rebuild the squad. Guardiola agreed, and having been accused of favouritism and being overly sentimental all season for picking Silva, The manager doubled down and made him captain for this season. It has only been 5 months, but that already looks like a masterstroke. For all City have been energised by the fresh legs and faces in the team, they have been refocused by a man who knows exactly what it takes to reach the unprecedented heights that the team reached under Guardiola, and will not settle for less than that. We talked a lot with each other in those moments, especially in the bad moments, Silva said in Palermo ahead of the new campaign. You need to be straightforward with your guys. It was good. I think it was good because first of all we learned how to appreciate what we did in the past, which is not normal. We know that it's very difficult to replicate because going back, forgetting last season, on the last 7 we have won 6 Premier Leagues, which is ridiculous. We know that it's probably not going to happen again, but at the same time it's not about winning or losing, it's about competing for the title. We didn't even give it a try. I think emotional-wise we're definitely back. In terms of being hungry again, we're back. Let's see if we have the quality, because at the end, this is all very beautiful. But at the end, the quality on the pitch will make a difference if we're prepared to perform or not. One thing that Silva can never be accused of is not trying, and his engine is definitely still there.